Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. What we're seeing in the NFL and what's happening with the Washington Commanders right now is nothing short of explosive. We're on the brink of a potential seismic shift in the NFC East, and believe me, this isn't just hype. It's the kind of move that could redefine the division, shake up the balance of power, and set the stage for the Commanders to make a serious run at the Super Bowl. And it all centers around a blockbuster trade that's been brewing under the radar, the acquisition of none other than Davante Adams. Yes, you heard that right. Adams, one of the premier wide receivers in the league, is now in the spotlight as a potential new piece for Washington's offense. But why is this such a game changer? Let's get into the details, the context, and what it all means for the Commanders, their fans, and the entire NFC East. First, it's impossible to talk about the Commanders right now without acknowledging the situation with their star receiver, Terry McLaurin. As many of you know, the team has been dragging its feet on a contract extension with McLaurin, and it's created quite a stir. Terry, a guy who's been a cornerstone for Washington's offense, has now requested a trade. That's a stark reminder that the NFL is a business, and sometimes even the best players are pushed out if the terms don't line up. And make no mistake, losing McLaurin would be a significant blow for Washington. He's a dynamic playmaker, someone who can stretch the field and make those impossible catches that energize the offense. But here's the thing. The Commanders are in a tricky spot. Jayden Daniels, the young quarterback who's entering his second season, needs all the help he can get. It's crucial for the team to surround him with talent, especially at wide receiver, to maximize his development and give him a real shot at elevating the offense. So what do? Well, the answer might be a trade for Davante Adams, one of the most prolific receivers in the league today. Now, let's step back a little and look at the bigger NFL picture. The Los Angeles Rams, who are also involved in this story, made a calculated move this offseason by adding Adams to their roster. The idea was to pair him with Puka Nacua, creating a formidable duo that could help them compete. But things haven't gone exactly as planned for the Rams. Matthew Stafford, their quarterback, has been dealing with back soreness and has been out of training camp. If Stafford's injury lingers or worsens, the Rams' season could take a hit. And if that happens, their chances of contending for a playoff spot or a Super Bowl diminish significantly. In that scenario, the Rams might look to trade players to acquire draft capital, especially if they're considering a rebuild or a strategic retooling. And that brings us to the possibility of trading Adams, who's a proven star, but also a player who prefers to compete for championships. It's a logical move for the Rams if they're not in a position to contend this season. They could send Adams to a team with Super Bowl ambitions, and in return, they would get draft picks and potentially set themselves up for a future franchise quarterback, perhaps even Arch Manning, who's been highly touted as a future NFL star. Now, why would the Commanders be interested in Adams? Well, for starters, he's a perfect complement to Jayden Daniels. Adams is known for his route running, his ability to create separation, and his knack for making acrobatic catches. He's a receiver who can elevate any offense, and with Daniels under center, he could return to the elite level of production we all remember from his days with the Green Bay Packers. Imagine Adams opposite Deebo Samuel, giving the Commanders a dangerous 1-2 punch that defenses will struggle to contain. That kind of pairing could open up the entire offense, giving Daniels multiple options and making Washington's passing game truly dynamic. And let's not forget the division implications here. The NFC East has always been fiercely competitive, with teams like the Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants constantly vying for supremacy. If Washington can land Adams, it's a statement move, a signal that they're serious about contending not just for the division title, but for a deep playoff run. It shifts the power dynamics, especially if the team can also resolve the McLaurin situation and keep their core weapons intact. The NFC East could see Washington leapfrog some rivals, especially if their offense becomes more explosive and unpredictable. But what about the challenges? Acquiring Adams wouldn't be a simple process. The Rams, as I mentioned, might be looking for draft capital, and Adams' contract demands are not insignificant. He's a high-profile player who expects to play for a contender, and if the Rams are rebuilding or retooling, they might prefer to part ways with him for the right price. The Commanders, on their part, would need to make a competitive offer to get him, possibly involving draft picks and maybe even some current players or future considerations. It's a delicate dance, but one that could pay off massively if executed correctly. Now, let's talk about the impact on the team's chemistry and on-field performance. Adding a player like Adams doesn't just boost the passing game statistically, it elevates the entire offense. His route running, especially his ability to work at the top of the curl or comeback routes, makes him a nightmare for defenders. Plus, his experience and leadership can be invaluable for a young quarterback like Daniels. This kind of veteran presence can help him grow, tighten the bond within the offense, and provide a much-needed boost in clutch situations. Of course, there's also the question of how the current roster will adapt. The Commanders will need to integrate Adams into their offensive scheme, which has been evolving under the new coaching staff. They'll want to maximize his strengths and create schemes that allow him to operate at his best. It's a strategic puzzle, but one that could make Washington's offense one of the most potent in the league. And considering the NFC East's competitive nature, every advantage counts. As we look ahead to the 2025 season, it's clear that the Commanders are making bold moves to position themselves as serious contenders. The potential acquisition of Davante Adams is more than just a splash, it's a statement of intent. It signals that Washington isn't content to sit back and watch the division pass them by. They're aiming to take control, to shake up the NFL landscape, and to chase that elusive Super Bowl title. So, fans, what do you think about this move? Do you see Adams in the burgundy and gold, lighting up FedEx Field and helping the team finally break through? Or do you think the Rams might hold on to him and focus on rebuilding? And what about the broader NFC East? Could this be the spark that ignites a new rivalry dominance? I want to hear your thoughts, your predictions, and your hopes for this upcoming season. The NFL is always full of surprises, and right now, the Washington Commanders are at the center of an exciting story that's just beginning to unfold. Pause here, just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And so, as we wrap up this deep dive, remember that the NFL offseason is a time of endless possibilities. The Commanders are clearly not resting on their laurels and are willing to make bold moves to improve their roster. Whether or not this trade for Adams materializes, it's a sign that Washington is serious about contending and that they're willing to shake things up to get there. The NFC East, once again, promises to be one of the most thrilling divisions in football, with drama, surprises, and of course, a lot of passion from the fans. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. Keep the faith, stay loud, and let's see how this story unfolds in the coming weeks. This season could be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and it all starts with the moves they make right now. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Commanders!